Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do, and they don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Of our chemistry sometimes is 3.7 seconds ago, we were nowhere near this set. We were having a conversation about Taylor Swift and some old friend of yours, and I'm over here trying to get the rundown finished. And then we start the show like nothing.
Here we are.
What's up, you can?
What's up, Nuño?
How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
So I wasn't going to start with this, but it hit me on my drive here. Yesterday, Casey Concepcion came by the office. Billy interviewed him.
I saw that. I was envious that I had already left. Didn't see it.
I got to chat with him for a few minutes, and this is what I bragged on the kid. And I was like, you know what I love watching about you, and I bet you agree with me here. I love that you look for contact, but you know when to avoid contact. And he kind of smiled, and he told me a story when he was younger. He was smaller than everybody, something that he had said at a press conference before. So he had to learn how to be shifty, but that he also likes to go after people as well. If you can, Kate, if you can pull up the punt return touchdown, some of his highlights, there's a point that he says if you watch him on that punt return, that he kind of shifts his body away from one of the guys who are about to make the tackle, and I don't think this is it. But regardless, but then he also looks for the contact as well. He plays strong. He comes after you.
You know what he is?
There's one right there, how shifty he was on that play.
He's just a good football player.
Yeah.
You know, some guys are good receivers, some of them be good run. He's just a good football player and so electric. But you remember, even before the season started, we're talking about when he first announced that we were talking about, we'd seen him play at NC State and what a big, huge addition this was going to be. It's interesting to me that there was a lot of angst about some of the receivers that A&M didn't get or got and left.
Right.
The guy came and he went back to Texas Tech. And then two guys went to LSU and like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do without this kid from Katy that's going to LSU who's done nothing? You know, right. And yet the guys that they got, and I'm going to include Bethel Roman in there, you know, have just been amazing.
Yeah, they have been amazing. He's just very kind. And I was like, you know, you've only been here a short while, but you're an Aggie. He goes, yeah, I'm an Aggie. Like, he believes it.
I think a lot of times when you get here as and I've seen this in all sports, Henry Coleman's the perfect example.
Yep.
When you get here and you start realizing it's different, but in a really good way, because there's so much camaraderie and connection to the student body and everybody, that you really appreciate it.
I saw a couple of tweets. It's weird for people to like A&M right now. Like, it's almost like kind of creepy, but like there's been a little bit of positive press for A&M recently. And there was I forget who it was, a couple different people tweeted out like, I used to think you guys were a cult when you were losing, but it's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool now.
Yeah.
It says when they said now that they're good, I think I saw the same.
Yeah. I think I was wrong.
And he says, yeah, now that they're good and they're showing the players sawing the horns after the games, all those things they do is seems kind of cool. Yeah.
So just win, baby.
Just win.
All right.
Nothing cooler than winning.
Let's kind of give out some awards, shall we?
Let's do.
Biggest winner of the weekend in college football. I'm going to give you a couple nominees, okay?
Yeah, I keep going back to Texas A&M. But
Texas A&M, yeah. I think we can answer A&M for a lot of these, okay? In some way, shape, or form, they're going to be in the mix for these. But yeah, Texas A&M, national spotlight, recruits that, A&M was interested in, go visit LSU that they're already committed there, and they get to kind of feel the vibe of A&M culture taking over Tiger Stadium.
Yeah, you basically had a home recruiting day
On the road.
on the road.
That doesn't happen.
I mean, you see Lamar Brown?
Yes. Yeah, and I'm not saying
I saw LSU fans saying, "Don't leave us, Lamar. It's going to be okay." And he didn't look good.
And I'm
not
not
happy.
I'm not predicting he's going to leave
No,
or anything.
I'm not either.
I just think who said it on the show? Maybe it was J.D. Pickell yesterday. It's a huge infomercial for Texas A&M.
I think that was Josh Pate.
Josh Pate. He's good. He's good.
Yeah,
he's good. I put another one on here. I didn't watch the game, but Memphis beating South Florida, right?
Yeah, that was big. And they came from behind to do it.
And they are now the team expected. They're in the driver's seat, if you will,
right?
For the Group of 5 playoff spot.
Still got to beat Navy.
Yeah,
undefeated Navy.
I'm on Navy's team on that one. I like Navy.
I like Navy, but they're not beating them. I don't think.
Biggest loser of the weekend. There's two real answers here.
I could say Brian Kelly.
Well, exactly. Again, A&M could be involved in all of these. LSU is the biggest loser. Now,
LSU, maybe South Florida.
South Florida, yep. And Mississippi State. 17-point lead in the fourth quarter at home.
But they weren't going anywhere anyway. But yeah, that means
Brandon Walker running around. That's Brandon Walker, right? The Barstool guy running around.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they're the biggest. I mean, that's got to be the most. Well, I'm not even going to say it's the most embarrassing loss because of the LSU loss. But
you know what LSU fans will tell you is that
we're glad we gave you that one. It helps us.
Well, yeah, we're the biggest winner because now we've rid ourselves of Brian Kelly, which I'm pretty sure 5 months ago they loved him. And by the way, we were in similar shoes with Jimbo, right? I wanted to believe in Jimbo towards the end. Even at the end, I was like, I knew it wasn't going to work out, but I so wanted it to.
Well, you're never rooting against your team.
Right.
I was going to make fun of LSU in a Cajun voice, but I don't do accents very well.
They sound French sometimes.
Well,
hey, there you go.
Cajuns are French. You always root for your team to win. And, I mean, for goodness sakes, I was rooting for A&M when Kevin Sumlin was the coach. And I knew that they were only going to be so good.
Yeah.
Because he was incompetent. But you still wanted to see him win. I mean, when I'm watching that beautiful 34-point lead in Pasadena start melting away, I'm still rooting for him.
Yeah.
Even though I know if I got a coach that can't manage this, he doesn't need to be my coach. Yeah. But I'm still hoping that they're going to pull it out. And I know that's how LSU fans felt. They're still rooting for that. That's the kind of thing that makes you tell yourself to try to feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least now we got rid of Brian Kelly.
Most surprising team of the weekend.
Who had a huge upset? See, I've already moved forward.
Did A&M, I don't think it was surprising for a lot of people, but was that kind of victory, the 35 points in a row, that was a surprising turn of events, I'd say.
To me, yeah. I mean, anytime you win like that in Tiger Stadium, that doesn't happen very often, especially at night. And yet, I'm going to tell you this, and you're going to call BS on it, but I am less surprised that A&M scored 35
unanswered points.
I'm going to say this. I'm less surprised at what A&M did in the third quarter when they were basically, they didn't score 28 points in the third quarter, but they set themselves up because that last third quarter drive they scored. I'm less surprised by that than I am by what A&M did wrong in the second quarter. To me, that was shocking.
Right.
This A&M offense, to me, has just been, lethal all year, even in the Auburn game, which
they just didn't finish. Yeah,
well, it was their own penalties.
Yeah.
But the most surprising team or aspect of last week.
I think surprising to me was Mississippi State
Wasn't there
blowing
a big
their
upset
lead
in the Big 12?
Remind me, Kate, look that up. What was the upset in the Big 12?
Houston beat Arizona State in Tempe.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Connor.
If anybody, Willie Fritz. Man, what a coach that guy is. I'm surprised that
LSU hasn't gone after him.
I know he's 65, but I'm telling you, you still got a lot of living to do. Okay, I'll go along with A&M on that.
Okay, I would say to me it was surprising that Mississippi State, even though that is the most Mississippi State thing to do, it was surprising in the moment. But I'll tell you this: once Texas scored once in the fourth quarter, I was like, they're going to come back, aren't they? They're about to come back because Mississippi State played scared.
Yeah, they did. They absolutely played scared. All the things they were doing successfully,
They stopped doing.
They stopped doing. And then I didn't see the game, but you were telling me. Was it you that told me that they had stopped Texas when they were up 17 and got a late penalty, like a late hit?
I believe that's
Arch?
what happened. Yeah. I saw a video or a picture of Arch driving yesterday, so people are saying that he's good to go. Because if you have concussion protocol, are you allowed to drive?
I don't know.
I don't know the rules. I don't make them.
I have probably over the course of my life had a concussion at some time and still drove.
Yeah.
Remember,
it used to be different back in the day.
Remember back that we used to get
your bells rung.
In fact, I was playing high school ball. I was on the kickoff team, and I was going down to cover, and I got blocked, and this guy's running by with the ball, and he hits me in the side of the helmet with his knee going full speed. Right?
Oh, that can't feel good.
And I got up, and I was kind of seeing double, right? But I got up, and I kind of stumbled a little bit. I see the trainer coming on. I'm like, no. I don't want to look. So I kind of jogged off. And on Monday, my drama teacher is making fun of me, saying I was faking it. And I'm like, what? So it's just the way things were back then. Oh, you just got hit in the head.
Right.
You got your bell rung. It's no big deal. And I ended up playing the rest of that game. I mean, I didn't play a lot anyway. But the point is that and it's a good thing. But we I don't want to say overreact. We react more to anything involved the head than we used to.
Did you see?
Maybe that's why I'm the way I am now.
Did you see MJ's comments about load management?
When you say MJ, are you talking about Michael Jordan?
Yeah, not Michael Jackson.
Okay.
He's dead. Michael Jordan, in my opinion, the greatest athlete that I've ever watched play anything.
Okay.
The most dominant player. He's like, nah, I don't believe in load management. Every game is a test. Every time I step on the court, I don't care if I had the flu. I don't care if they tried to poison me in Utah. I was going to be out on the court to make a difference, even if I was a decoy.
Well, that's a professional.
That is the professional, isn't it? All right, here's the other one I wanted to get into. Which team's performance this weekend, I don't know, I'm phrasing it so weird.
This coming weekend or last week?
This past weekend, told you the most about a team moving forward? Which performance this weekend told you the most about a team moving forward? I'm going to give you two answers. I'm going to give you A&M. We're not going anywhere. Knock on the door, we're here.
And what's the other one?
I think Ole Miss, and only because, not because of their performance, but I think they have solidified a spot in the playoffs.
Oh, they got a cakewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the playoff. I absolutely expected Ole Miss to beat Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's been kind of a media creation from day one.
Yeah.
And but I'm going to go with A&M again.
Okay.
It's funny to me because people say, and I've seen this nationally and in different podcasts, and now whenever A&M wins a game, and I think you're going to agree with this, there's element out there immediately starts trying to find ways to
poke holes.
Yeah, to disparage it, and then it's like, well, LSU's not that good. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, we all knew that they didn't have a great offense at LSU.
They had this great defense,
but they've had this great defense that just got, I guess, 42 points hung on them because 7 was on the punt return, and really couldn't stop A&M. A&M stopped A&M, and then you start looking back at it, and you start thinking, you know what? A&M's played some really good defensive teams. Auburn,
very good defense.
Again, the penalties is the only thing that kept A&M from beating Auburn a lot worse than they did. Florida, good defensive teams. Yep. And so you start thinking about, look at what this offense is doing against really good defensive teams.
Yeah. Hey, let's tell the people what show they're watching and listening to.
This is TexAgs Live.
Presented by?
David Gardner's Jewelers, David Garner and Julia. Jim, they're both Jims.
Gyms of Humans.
Yes.
We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Jason, Jackson,
And the boys.
Keith, and Morgan, and the boys.
Yeah. And this hour has a name. We call it the Go Hour, presented by
The Warehouse at CC Creations.
Yeah. And this platform that we're sitting on right now is called the...
This is the Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
Yeah, go check out Holistic Planning for all your financial planning. And if you want to call the show, you can call our friends on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline.
Yeah, our good friend old Buppy Samak. And you can call, you said, and bartending, right?
And bartending.
So it does it all.
Yeah, they do it all.
At
979.
979-693-1150.
All right, let's go around the room and say hi to the people. Behind the glass is Cade Bickham. Cade, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, y'all. How are y'all doing this morning?
Good.
Pretty well.
Fantastic. David, on your point about Mississippi State earlier, I was thinking, I said this yesterday, and I was thinking about this when I was watching that game. When they had that lead with like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I had very little confidence that they were going to finish that game. I've seen Texas come back from stupid deficits like that too many times to count. Usually in the Big 12, it was against Texas Tech a lot of the time. And then two, Mississippi State they have a tendency to blow leads like that. And so it just really wasn't super shocking to me that ended up going to overtime and Texas ended up winning that game.
It wasn't shocking when it was happening, but I think it was, if you would have walked away from the TV at the end of the third quarter, you'd have been like, all right, Mississippi State. And then they scored, was it a punt? No, what did they score on? They scored quickly after Texas had scored. And it's like, because Texas gets it to 10, the Mississippi State gets it right back to 17. And they're like, all right, this game's, in your mind, you think it's over.
I don't mean to change the subject, but I'm going to.
Yeah, please do.
Since we're talking about teams blowing big leads to Texas, what do you think about Buzz Williams recruiting for Maryland while he's being paid by Texas A&M? I think he just goes to prove all the things I always thought about him.
I'm not going to disagree with you. In fact, I don't think he's the only A&M former head coach that's probably done that.
Probably the only one that kind of bragged about it.
Well, this is true. Yeah. But what are they going to do?
Nah,
You know, like A&M's better off.
Addition by subtraction.
I enjoyed his tenure here. I thought they had fun teams, but I was ready to move on.
Yes, I was ready to move on. Thought they still never got to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament.
This is true.
All right, I'm sorry. See, I changed it, but it is kind of topical.
He didn't know my name at one press conference, even though he was on the show every Monday for 3 years. And he calls me Nuño. But who's that? Yeah. Anyway, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. We don't hold grudges here, Caden Schwartner. Hello, sir.
Good morning.
We have some, I don't know, not breaking news per se, but some big news in A&M's coaching world. Soccer's going in a different direction with the retirement of Coach G.
Yeah, after 33 seasons, 507 wins, and 18 conference titles, Coach G has officially retired from soccer. He's the only coach in Aggie soccer history.
I love that dude. He's a dear friend.
Guy.
He built that program. A lot of success. And I'm going to be sad to see him go because I enjoyed our conversations here on the show. But he'll be in this community, I'm sure. He runs Calvary, the club that my boys play at, and he has impacted many A&M athletes over the years.
33 years in the same job. I've never done that. I haven't even gotten close.
Yeah, I haven't either. It'll be very interesting what they do because there's an opportunity here, right? Like when Joe Evans retired or moved on, I should say, they brought in Trisha Ford, right? And that was a big swing, and we're expecting huge things for softball. So with the retirement of Coach G, hopefully they find the right person, and we have a lot of success moving forward.
I would expect that to be the case. A&M should be good in everything.
Caden, what else?
I have this awesome stat that I found. Texas A&M has 3 players with over 300 rushing yards on the year. Ruben with 440, Le'Veon with 389, and Marcel with 349. The Aggies also have 3 additional men with over 100 yards rushing. E.J. Smith with 115, Amari Daniels with 110, and Jamarian Morrow with 109. So in total, A&M has 6 players who have combined for over 1,500 rushing yards on the year so far.
I love the selflessness of that room.
It really is amazing.
Yeah.
It's interesting. One of these things I think we're going to ask pretty soon is there's this one theory that some running backs get better as the game goes on. The more carries they get, the better they get. And yet it would seem like the luxury to always be able to put in a fresh back. I mean, how do you decide what's
Hey, we're
going to
go with the freshman that hasn't played very much. Oh, touchdown. That's Jamie Morrison.
That spin move he made to get into the end zone, that's next level.
Yeah, he's great. Let's hit a break here. We're going to actually do Max Wright on the show at around 8:35, so we'll get to that here. But right now, I think lunch with Max Wright at 1775 sounds like a good OB kind of day.
Well, it would be. I mean, except today's Wednesday, but if it was Thursday, Friday, or Saturday,
you could do it.
And you can't go wrong with 1775. So of course, you'd want to go with Wright.
Yeah,
Wright. It's never wrong.
It's never wrong. And what's never wrong is the queso mac and cheese.
The queso mac and cheese.
The succulent brisket. The turkey.
The turkey.
We don't have a word for the turkey.
Hey, you know what?
Nuño's turkey.
And
that doesn't sound good.
Thanksgiving's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's an option. You call them up and say, hey, can I get a turkey? Or how much turkey can I get? I can have that turkey instead.
Do you think they do turkey and broccoli for me?
They'd probably do turkey.
You don't think they do broccoli for me?
You know what? I wonder if you can't feed broccoli to the turkey before you whack it and serve it up as dinner.
Basically, I think you should just
Wouldn't that be kind of like getting the broccoli and the turkey all at once?
Yeah, all at once. So what do they call it? I can't even think of a way.
Turkey?
The turkey. There you go. A little turkey. Go to 1775 where they can get turkey and succulent brisket. 1775 txbbq.com or call them up 979-492-6241.
It's good.
Hey everyone, it's David and Olin from the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
I like when we have the chairs here because I don't feel like I have to do this when we're talking about holistic planning. But they want you to know, TexAgs subscribers, they take care of the TexAgs subscribers.
Oh, absolutely. Take care of everybody.
They want to know that anybody who signs up by November 27, 2025 will receive this awesome offer. If the Aggies beat the Longhorns or win in Austin on November 28, 2025, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
That's free.
It's free 99. Actually, just free.
All you got to do is beat Texas. Well, it's not if they beat Texas. It's when they beat Texas.
When. And when you go to holisticplanning.com, you're going to love Holistic Planning. So it is holisticplanning.com. Check out the website and take advantage of this awesome offer. Does it
It's taking me back to sophomore year. Little kiss.
a little 1952?
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding.
Sophomore year, that would have been around 1977 or 78.
Look, don't get mad at me, all right?
No.
Not a big kiss guy.
You know,
They just didn't do it. The whole paint thing, the tongue. It's just not my thing.
it was so cool back then.
I bet it was.
It was because nobody done like.
What's
like
Gene Simmons and who's the other dude?
Paul Stanley.
I think I like Paul Stanley. And I don't know which one I
Peter
like.
Criss and the Ace Frehley, who just recently passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
Okay,
This is TexAgs Live.
it is.
You're ready to get to the games, but we got to tell the people we're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Oh yeah. David.
We're on our
Gardner.
insurance studio.
I mean, we're not here without David.
Presented by the warehouse at CC Creations. Games to watch, Olin Buchanan. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's see. I don't have the list in front of me.
I got it. Yeah, let's start from the bottom all the way to the top, like
Okay.
Drake, all right? Number 17, Cincinnati. Number 24, Utah.
Yeah, this is, first of all, I don't think it's a great week for college football. And one of the games I left off that I thought maybe, but I don't think people would pay that much attention to it is undefeated Navy at North Texas, which is only a one-loss team.
Yeah.
Navy, actually, if they could finish undefeated, they could get that group of 5. I just don't think it's going to happen. So, but Cincinnati is 7-1 in the Big 12, so they have playoff and championship aspirations. And Utah does it, but they're 6-2. So I think it's one of those games where if you're following the Big 12, you look at that and say, man, that's a big game.
Yeah.
Because if Cincinnati wins, they stay in it. And they got some big games coming up. But this is a very losable game, especially on the road. I mean, remember, in the Big 12, you're going across country.
Yeah.
And in the ACC, you do that, as we'll get to. But, yeah, big game there.
All right, the next game. Number 18, Oklahoma at number 14, Tennessee. Good defense versus a good offense.
Bad offense versus a bad defense. Yeah, that is an interesting one. I just saw that. You probably saw this. Brent Venables said, hey, I think we were better than Ole Miss. And
don't give Lane Kiffin any ammunition.
Oh, man, did he skewer him? And Josh Heupel played quarterback at Oklahoma. Brent Venables did nothing at Tennessee.
I'm sure he's driven by.
Man, I think that's an interesting game. I don't know who the better team is. I guess that's why they play. But, both of them are 6-2 in the conference. So I think it's one of those things where somebody's very, very faint playoff hopes get eliminated.
Yeah, I agree.
Good. They're both going to get eliminated, but it happens this week for one of them.
All right, the next game, number 15, Virginia at Cal.
Yeah, I know that's a hard one to swallow there. Virginia in a big game against Cal. First of all, that just goes to show, in my opinion, how it's not a great weekend. But Virginia is 7-1. You know who really cares about this game? Miami.
Yeah.
Because Miami, would like to get into the ACC championship game. Virginia has that win over Miami. Or no, it wasn't Virginia, it was Louisville that beat them. But anyway, Virginia is 7-1, and this is one of the 2 games left of their 4 that they could possibly lose. And Cal's 5-3, and you have to go from all the way across country. You're traveling from Virginia to Berkeley to San Francisco for that game. I think Virginia becomes very vulnerable in this game, but we'll see if they can. Make the trip.
I think for that kind of trip, that's one of those you leave a day early.
Well, Jimbo certainly would.
Jimbo
would have left on Wednesday for this game.
He would have left on Wednesday for San Antonio.
They'd let him. Surprised they didn't.
Number 5, Georgia versus Florida.
Yeah, look, like you said, you just said versus Florida, not number anything, Florida. The world's, they don't call it anymore, but the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. It's tradition. It's a great rivalry there in Jacksonville. I think Georgia is more vulnerable to losing this game than people might think.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a pretty competitive game last year?
Yeah.
And then Lagway got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I think Georgia.
That was what, in the fourth quarter, third quarter?
Yeah. Georgia's 6-1, 4-1 in the conference. They cannot afford a loss. And Florida, as should be, an underdog, but forget that 3-4 record. You know, they could win this game. I think that's a very intriguing game. I think that might be the game this week that I'd most be interested in watching personally.
And then number 9, Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
At number 20, Texas. Quarterback TBD. I don't know if it matters. I think Vanderbilt's a better team.
No, Pavi's playing. Either Arch Manning or what's his name? Caldwell. What's his first name?
Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell online. Oh, sorry.
Let's see if he can take them on a drive to beat Vanderbilt. Look, Texas has been living a lie, but they can.
They've been on the road for 4 weeks, I think it is. They've got a Vanderbilt team that this is a huge roadblock for them to make the playoffs.
The way I look at it, Vanderbilt still has SEC championship hopes.
Mm-hmm.
Texas still has playoff hopes.
They technically also have SEC championship hopes. I think
with 2 losses, I think it's unlikely.
No, but one of the losses is in.
You're right.
The Big Ten.
You're right. My bad. And I keep thinking that in my mind, I keep thinking that I'm discounting because of the last 2 games that against bad teams that they squirrel out. Yes. So somebody's SEC championship hopes and maybe even their playoff hopes are going to be dashed this week.
Yeah, exactly right. All right, that's it for the games we want to watch when we come back. Max Wright's going to join us. OB, you like autographs?
Sure.
Yeah,
Why not? Yeah, why not? I've gotten some in my. What's the most impressive autograph you ever got?
I haven't had an autograph since I was a child, but I assume you're the same. Probably Jose Canseco rookie card, 1986.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah. I never got anything
back in the day. It was worth a lot of money. It's not worth anything anymore. But you have an opportunity with Fitterman Sports to get Marcel Reed's autograph.
Yeah.
Casey Concepcion's autograph, Mario Craver's autograph, and
Johnny Football.
Imagine bringing one ball and having those 4 signatures. That'd be pretty cool.
Like I said, Johnny Football, Marvelous Marcel, the Immaculate Concepcion, and Super Mario.
All you can do that. Fitterman Sports bringing that all together in Houston for an epic autograph meet and greet featuring your fighting Texas Aggie football stars, as I mentioned. Johnny Manziel, Mario Craver, Casey Concepcion, Marcel Reed, happening Saturday, November 1st at Fitterman Sports Post Oak location inside of Central Supply right there in Houston, Texas. Bring your helmets, your jerseys, your unbeatable Aggie pride, and autographs and photos and memories that'll last a lifetime. Tickets are going fast, so head to FittermanSports.com right now. Lock in yours before they're gone, and make sure to follow Fitterman Sports on Facebook and Instagram for all the action. That's FittermanSports.com, November 1st. It is Fitterman Sports, the fighting Texas Aggies. Please be there. Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olsen wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it. We are back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline here on the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Max Wright joining us. What's up, Max?
Good morning. Good morning. How are y'all?
Good, man. How are you?
Man, living the dream. I'm in a good mood today, man. It's been a good week for us.
So, did you go to Baton Rouge or did you watch it at home? Kind of give me your whole experience.
I actually was at a wedding.
Okay.
My wife was in a wedding, so I was I was watching it a lot while the ceremony was going on. So my wife gave me a real hard time about it, but man, I was watching it from wedding up in Dallas, and had some other Aggies who I was watching it with, and man, it was fun to watch. The first half was a little stressful. I think it was for everybody, but man, the way that they bounced back in the second half, gave me a good reason to celebrate the rest of the night. Aside from also the wedding.
Yeah, I just want to go on record that any woman that wants to have a wedding and plan a wedding in football season and college is not worth marrying. That said, Max, just your thoughts on this offense, just in general. I mean, how do you think that compares to some of the offenses y'all put out there with, and some of the offenses you've seen at A&M or anywhere?
Yeah, I think in terms of talent, these guys, in my opinion, are one of the most talented offenses that I've seen in the past few years. I think, they are a complete team. I don't think there's a position on the field right now that lacks in talent and production. The tight ends, whenever they get their opportunities, are obviously capitalizing on those chances. The wide receivers that we have, I think, are the most dynamic wide receivers that we've had at A&M in a long time. Our offensive line play is dominant, and obviously that running back room is as deep as any in the country. And then, we have a pretty dang good quarterback in the backfield as well. So when you talk about talent level, I think that this team, talent-wise, is up there with any that I've seen. And, then to take it a step further, I really think what separates this offense's production and ability to adapt throughout games is Coach Klein. I think that Coach Klein is an unbelievable play caller. And, when we talk about the second half adjustments that you see Coach Elko's defenses make, it's also the second half adjustments that Coach Klein is taking into that meeting room at halftime and talking to those guys about. That allows them to come out and put up 35 unanswered points against the team in Death Valley on the road. So I think that it's the perfect storm of things right now. I think you have a ton of talent that fits into Coach Klein's offense and into what he's trying to do scheme-wise, but you also have a really dynamic play caller and a coach that trusts his abilities to make changes throughout a game for them to be successful.
Max, earlier, Caden Schwartner was reading off some stats for the running back room, and it's so balanced. But really, when you think about this team overall, wide receivers, very balanced, right? And I know it's top heavy with Casey and Mario, but like several guys getting their looks. Same with the tight end room. Talk about a selfless team like that, where not only can they beat you multiple ways, multiple guys at multiple positions.
You're exactly right. I mean, you talk about the wide receiver room being top heavy with Mario and KC, but I mean, Ashton Bethel-Roman, whenever his number's called, that guy makes plays. I mean, had one of the best catches I've seen this past weekend, man. I mean, that was unbelievable. But that's where your leadership bleeds into those position rooms is if you have a selfless leader and a servant leader who's going to be like, hey, I may not get all the attention here. I might not get all the hype. I'm going to do my best so that I can help this team win. That's infectious amongst the players. And that's Marcel. That's Coach Elko. That's Coach Klein. They're guys who are, they're not caught up and taking up the spotlight. They care about doing what matters to win. And that's it. And you see that all across the board. The defensive leaders with Torian York and Albert Regis. Albert Regis is a guy who I think gets talked about a little bit, but I don't think he gets the props that he deserves for being one of the leaders of that defense. He's a senior veteran guy who holds down the middle and the interior a lot. And he's one of those guys who I think sets the tone for how this team carries themselves. I think that whenever you have a team that's willing to play for each other and it feels like a brotherhood in that locker room, that's going to be a team that has success, especially in the era of NIL, where you don't see teams like that anymore. And they're going to become fewer and fewer as time goes on when money is now being introduced into the scheme for college athletics. And if you have a coach who can build a culture that brings back kind of that old feel of like, man, these guys are truly playing for each other and not for the money or not for the spotlight, that's where you're going to have special teams arise. And that's what you're seeing this year.
Max, kind of two things right quick. First of all, there's, I guess this growing sentiment, not just here, but nationally, that this A&M team maybe could be the best team in the country. Do you want to pump the brakes on that, especially we're not even November yet? And then the other part I want to ask you is, are you watching Bokacher in the backfield running for touchdowns and thinking, why the hell they didn't do it with me?
Man, I tell you what, I had a few people talk to me about Nate's touchdown from the fullback spot, and a few of them did ask, man, why didn't they use you that way? And so I chuckled about that quite a bit. But you know, while I was there, and another good buddy of mine was playing fullback, Ernest Crownover, who was a pretty dang good fullback too. So I'm glad Ernest got his touches whenever he did from the fullback spot. But in regards to the best team nationally conversation, I think what sets this team apart and what gives me the comfort to talk about them as a national contender is their maturity. I don't think that this is a team that whenever they hear themselves thrown into the conversation as the top team is going to kind of start to carry themselves with a bigger chest and, you know, feel like they don't have to put in the effort to go out and win week to week. I mean, you saw that this weekend. I'm 90% of teams, I think honestly 95 to 99% of teams who go into Death Valley, who have the second quarter that they have, do not recover the way that A&M did in that third quarter, put up 35 unanswered points throughout the rest of the game. In one quarter alone, to have 2 interceptions, a blocked punt, to have a drive extending penalty that ultimately led to a touchdown, and to go into half down 4 on the road in a place like that, you don't bounce back from that usually. Teams that I was on, I don't think that we had them. Actually, that's not, I don't think. I know that we didn't have the maturity level to go in and bounce back and win those games. And teams that are national contenders have the talent, which is what A&M has always had. We've had the talent. But where you go on that next step is having the maturity and the mindset to go in every single game. And whenever you get punched in the mouth, you don't step back, you don't falter, you don't flinch, you just keep on rolling. And that's exactly what this team did. So when we look at them in the national conversation, I do think that the next few weeks are going to be tough. I think that obviously Mizzou on the road, them losing their starting quarterback, it maybe makes that game a little bit easier, but that's still a great team with Ahmed Hardy in the backfield, one of the best running backs in the SEC. It's going to be a test to stop that offense. And then obviously, you know, you got South Carolina at home, and then we go to Texas. And you look at the rest of the season, I think it is doable for them to end the season, you know, in that top at least 2 conversation, you know, up there with Ohio State and Indiana in the mix. So I think that they are a national contender, yes. And I think that they're only going to get to prove that more and more week to week, and they know that. And so that's how they're going to carry themselves. They're not going to sit there and think they are the best team in the country. They're going to go out and prove it every single week.
Max, Marcel, you think he is, not only is he on pace, but do you think he might end up in New York for the Heisman?
I tell you what, the Heisman conversation is the most impactful player on one of the best teams in the country. And I think whenever you look at what Marcel does for this offense from you know, not just a running standpoint, we all know that he's fantastic with his legs. And that's always been the conversation about Marcel, is if he's good, you know, he's great with his legs, but can he throw the ball efficiently? I think when you see what he's done this season to really spread out this offensive success, I think he has to be someone that you at least throw into the conversation of one of the top guys in the country to be considered for that award. Well, I think one of the things that's the most exciting for me is thinking about Marcel's future. And if not this year, I know that in the next coming years, he's going to be considered in that conversation if he decides to stick around. To answer your question, yes, I do think that Marcel should be considered in that conversation when we're talking about the Heisman. I think that he is one of the most impactful players on the field, and I think that he's one of the hardest players that you have to deal with defensively whenever you look at stopping this A&M offense. I mean, you saw it this past weekend. You can have great coverage downfield and these great receivers, and then he's going to bust out a 40-plus yard run for a touchdown, which we've actually seen him do multiple times in the past few weeks. And alongside that, he can kill you with deep strikes. So I think, yes, I think that he's going to be in the Heisman conversation. If he's going to be in New York, I don't know. I really hope so, but we'll see.
So, touch on something you just said. How do receivers and tight ends, you know, how do they feel when you're going out and you're running hard and you're trying to get open and you look up and your quarterback's running downfield instead of delivering the ball to you?
You feel awesome if you're in an offense where, you know, like we talk about, you're in an offense that, you know, cares about the guy next to you being successful. And, you know, it's hard not to root for Marcel. You know, I only got to play one game with Marcel, and it was the Oklahoma State game in the Texas Bowl when Jalen Henderson went down and he stepped in and played a great football game in his first game. And I found myself rooting for him, in every single way in that game. Obviously, not that I wouldn't root for him, he's my quarterback, but in situations like that where, if I have a route where, I know I'm going to be the first target on a play and I see my quarterback, I turn around and think I'm open and I see my quarterback scampering for a 45-yard touchdown, I'm going to be pretty happy. The fact that I got a quarterback back there who's able to do that, it's a luxury. It's not a common thing to have that type of player. Granted, I know guys like touchdowns and they like being able to make their own plays, but it's so easy to root for a guy like Marcel. It's so easy to, whenever he has success, to be so happy for him and to just want to be a part of that. So, that guy, he sets the tone and sets the standard in that locker room, and that's why you see all the guys rallying behind him like they are, because he's easy to root for, man.
Max, I appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Yeah.
Max Wright there on the Bumpy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. A moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you're a business owner and you're looking to take your business to the next level and you need a fleet of vehicles, that's the place to go to find your business vehicles, because they have expanded their selection of their commercial vehicles to meet your everyday need. They've got service body trucks. They got heavy duty. They've got medium duty trucks. They got it all, and they can handle all those tough jobs at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. And they're a designated business elite dealer, which means they understand what it takes to keep your company moving forward. And that's not all. Every commercial vehicle comes with that legendary free oil change for life, because they believe in supporting local business, just like they support Aggie athletics. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
just liked A&M.
And we're back. Sorry, I was talking upstairs with Josh and Jacob, just kind of planning what the next month and hopefully beyond looks like.
We could be. I heard you mention it yesterday. We could be just only halfway through the season instead of.
I hope so.
Instead of 2/3 of the way through.
I hope we're just halfway through, right?
Right. Play 16 games.
Is there a way to do 15? I guess 15 would be if you didn't go to the SEC championship game, right?
And still got to buy.
But I want it all.
Want it all.
Give me everything.
Yeah, I'm liking that.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. It's all possible.
America.
But you gotta be ready to play every week.
Yeah, you do.
Just like Max Wright was talking about. Hey, be a mature team. Don't think you're just better than everybody.
Right.
Compare to the same.
All right, OB, thank you very much. When we come back, I know it's the shortest fake segment of all time. We will have John Harris on the program, chit chat with Johnny, and the rest of the crew. Jamie Morrison will be joining us shortly. It's TexAgs Live. We're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the show. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Talk to my buddy, Texans sideline reporter, and the founder of footballtakeover.com, John Harris. Johnny, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, David? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
You know, our teams won. You know, it was actually a good weekend for the state of Texas. other than that NFL team up north and Baylor. Everybody else won some football games. Some looked really good doing it. And it was a good weekend for the Texans beating the Niners, and now we got the Broncos.
Johnny, tell me if you follow my logic here. I was not surprised that A&M beat LSU down. But there's a but to it. But I thought maybe by like 10, maybe they get to 17. And then I was like, there was a little fear factor, right? Like, well, it's freaking Baton Rouge. But Josh Pate came on this show a few days before the game, and he was like, look, if you guys get up on LSU early, those fans are going to leave. And that's exactly what happened. You've been there. I've been there. Just kind of take me through that thought process of the way A&M handled them so decisively that they had to get rid of Brian Kelly.
Well, I think there are a couple things at work, and maybe you see them after the fact. And I think Josh was he saw it beforehand, and I think that it's true that LSU program was desperate for a big win. The Clemson win at the beginning of the year just lost its luster because Clemson's not very good, and they're looking for a big win, and they weren't able to get it against other ranked teams. And so you can kind of tell in some sense that LSU, just the whole thing was on edge. And I think Brian Kelly brings that out of whatever program he's involved in. It just always feels like the Brian Kelly programs are just on edge. And so there were a couple of videos that popped up after the game that I thought were interesting. And it was Garrett Nussmeier, going over to the sideline and Brian Kelly trying to talk to him. And basically Nussmeier was like, bleep you, get out of my face, like move this. I'm not dealing with you. And then when Nussmeier was taken out of the game sometime in the fourth quarter, he wanted no part of Brian Kelly. And Brian Kelly was just like standing there like, what? Like, what? You won't even talk to your head coach? I thought it was really interesting. And I had the same observation when I watched the Netflix show. I can't remember, was Any Given Saturday, I think it was called, the Netflix show that followed, different, pro players and programs around for the SEC. And they did one that focused on LSU. And I think it was Sean Pendergast, who obviously has a history, being a Notre Dame fan, Notre Dame alum, with Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. He said, man, it really looked like Brian Kelly is almost begging his guys to play. And I was like, I remembered that thought as I was kind of watching all that. And I thought, he just has lost the confidence of everybody there. And then you see all of the ex-players, like Malik Neighbors has a video of him kicking rocks. Like, Brian Kelly can kick rocks. Dwight McGlothern was, retweeted it and then had a smiley face, when it said Brian Kelly was fired. I mean, he did not endear himself to LSU. I remember when the hire was announced, I didn't think it was a great hire at all. I've never really thought Brian Kelly was the end-all, be-all coach. I thought he could have done a lot more with Notre Dame, and I think you're seeing that with Marcus Freeman now. I just am not the biggest Brian Kelly fan. And so in hindsight, you look back and go, well, yeah, this thing was teetering on the brink the entire time. And all A&M had to do was just keep the pressure on, which they were finally able to do in the second half, and the whole thing was going to crumble. It just really was obvious. No Whit weeks. Nussmeier's out to lunch because he's playing for a coach he despises, and he's a coach's son. And he's kind of acting out that way. That tells you it was really, really bad at LSU. But again, you have to put them to sleep. And you did. And you put them to sleep in a big way in the second half. And I think in doing so, you made a statement about what program you have. And I thought the greatest thing was reading about Tommy Moffitt and how Brian Kelly, the first thing he did was he fired Tommy Moffitt. Mike Elko brings him to A&M. And A&M has outlasted, I say that nicely, has outlasted LSU the last two games. They blasted LSU in the second half of both games. And it looked like, going back to our whole thought, it looked like LSU was horribly coached in the second halves of both of the last two games. But to get that win in Baton Rouge, and look, when you haven't won in a place, it isn't until you see zeros on the clock. I remember when we went to Indianapolis in 2015 and finally beat the Colts after 13 trips to Indianapolis. We beat them up in the second half, but it wasn't until I saw zeros on the clock that I was going to celebrate. And then you get it done and you're like, yeah, we knew we'd have it all along. And it's like, when you have such a history and you haven't done it, you want to see it done in spades. And then the second half, I know A&M fans that were there, A&M fans anywhere, had to feel really, really good about all phases, running touchdowns, passing touchdowns, punt return touchdowns. It was a great effort. I really do wish that the punt team would quit getting punts blocked because that's costing them at Notre Dame and LSU. You got to fix that. But other than that, I felt like it was a complete systematic takedown of the artist formerly known as the LSU Tigers.
Talking to Johnny Harris here on TexAgs Live. John, Texas A&M hasn't been in this position in a long time, but they haven't been that far off. Just a year ago, they were 7-1 in this same position. November's coming. They've got some ranked games ahead on the road. They still got Missouri coming up, and Missouri's got their own problems. They got to take on and exercise more demons against Lenore Sellers in South Carolina at home. They've got to beat Texas on the road. Like, there's still a lot of potholes potentially out there. All that being said, why is it different this year?
Well, I just think this is a different football team, a different program. I mean, it just feels wired differently. It doesn't feel like, when something goes wrong with, the computer or whatever, where they tell you to turn it off, turn it right back on, and it comes back. That doesn't feel like what A&M has done. It feels like they unplugged the computer, went and tossed that one in the trash, went and got a new one, a similar one, and then restarted that one, and it's like they're off and running. It feels like just a different program, a different mindset. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's all captured in one moment, David. Cassius Howell losing his mind on the freshman tackle from LSU. Maybe that's the kind of thing that, A&M, you look at it and go, oh, okay. Mike Elko, after, his press conference, he's being asked about, Brian Kelly was 20-1, and he interrupts and goes 20-2. It just feels like there's a little bit more cock of the walk, swagger, whatever you want to say about this program, but they're backing it up with going out and not only just playing well, but dominating opponents at times in games, if not for a full 60 minutes. And that just feels different, David. Now, because of what they've done, they've given themselves some margin for error here. And I'm not saying that they're going to Missouri and losing. In fact, I don't think that's going to happen, especially if Prabula is out. I think they'll go to Missouri and win. And I told you at the beginning of the year when you said, hey, what are your thoughts? Look at the schedule. And I was like, those three in the middle, I guess the close in the middle, the 3 road games in a row, those are gonna be tough. And I know Arkansas, LSU, Missouri may not be top 15, they may not be top 20. I mean, Arkansas's case, Arkansas was, they're dying. LSU was on the verge of it, but it's still LSU and Baton Rouge. And now you got Missouri, who has played really well defensively, has an All-American running back, but a quarterback situation that's not advantageous. A&M's got an opportunity to knock off Missouri, and then, okay, let's see what we got the rest of the year. It's not on paper. You look at it and go, it's not on paper a tough schedule. But what the initial success of the season has done is it's given them margin for error that, hey, you know what? If they get tripped up by South Carolina, the worst they finish at that point, the worst they could finish is 10-2 if they would happen to lose to Texas. Now, I feel like A&M is a much better football team than Texas at this point. What Texas might be at the end of the year, I don't know. But I thought if Texas was going to show it, they'd show it by now. They're struggling to beat Mississippi State in Starkville. So I don't think Texas really is at A&M's level, and I don't think it's close. But like you said, could you get tripped up? Sure. But the margin for error is a little wider because you have started, 7-0, 8-0, whatever it is. So you've put yourself in position that if you go out and stub your toe one week, it's not going to end up killing you in the long run. You still have opportunities to go to the CFP. You'll still be in position to potentially play in the SEC championship game, all those kind of things. I just don't see that from A&M. I just see them going out each week saying, all right, our opponent this week is South Carolina. They like to do this with Lenora Sellers. Our defense will stop him. Defensively, they don't like this. We're going to run this against them to take advantage of that. They just have so many different ways, as I've said, to beat teams that they can kind of go into a game plan and say, all right, this team does this, they do this, but they don't do that, and they don't do that. Okay, we're going to take advantage of that. And that's seemingly what they did against LSU, but there's just a different, I don't know the right way of saying it, David, is, but there used to be years where I would watch A&M and I would see them trash talk and they do some stupid things and get 15-yard penalties. And I'm like, man, you're not good enough to do that stuff. Now they're good enough, not only good, they're great enough to overcome those things, but yet it feels like they're not doing all of the stupid stuff that can get them in trouble. Cassius talking as much as he was, I got a little worried that, well, maybe they'll flag him. They didn't. And then you're like, man, that fuels that defense that they've got to do. They can look over and go, hey, number 9 is going to carry us if we need it. But they don't need it because they play really well together as a team. And I loved what Jay Bateman said. When he was asked about it, Jay said, no, man, I love it. Keep it up. Let's go. I was like, okay, that's just a different vibe than what they've had before. And I think they believe they've got guys on either side of the ball. Marcel Reed leading the offense, Cassius and Torian York leading the defense. They feel like they can beat anybody, anywhere, anytime. And I love that belief. And I think it's going to get them at a minimum to 11-1. 11-1 will get them into the playoff for sure.
Johnny, it's interesting how expectations and desires evolve as the season goes on. So had you told me before the season 9-3, I would have been like, that would be a good year. With that road schedule, that'd be a good year. 9-3 would suck now. And like, I want it all, right? Like, so the way things are today, right? Can this team win a national championship?
Hell yes, it can. Absolutely. I mean, tell me who the best team in the country is. I mean, I think everybody would point to Ohio State, I would think. But Ohio State's biggest win this year is what?
Texas.
Maybe Texas by 3 at home in the opener. Now, I do think Ohio State's gotten better. Here's the thing about Ohio State. Julian's saying, and I thought this about CJ a few years ago, Julian's saying because of the schedule Ohio State's played, he didn't have to be CJ Stroud or what CJ became. He could kind of grow into that position. And in so doing, he learned how to play quarterback. And now Julian's saying is a mother trucker. He is tough to stop, and now that makes Ohio State that much better. But I don't even think Ohio State is so above everybody else at this point. Indiana is a really good, complete football team. But I don't look at them and think, oh, my God, that's Alabama. And I look at A&M, and I think the same thing. Offensively, defensively, really solid special teams. They can do some things. Just got to punt the ball better. A&M has got the formula, and they've got NFL talent. I think Indiana has the formula. I think there's some NFL talent. But I think, and that's why Indiana's number 2 in the country right now. But I do think that Ohio State is probably the best overall combination of talent and playing together. And Matt Patricia, dare I say, has really come in and given that defense a jolt. But again, who has Ohio State played? And so, yeah, A&M's absolutely in that mix. Now, there's some one-loss teams. Alabama has played pretty well. But again, when you're talking about conference games, if A&M and Alabama met on a neutral field, what would the spread be? Probably pretty close to even. So, yes, A&M is absolutely in a mix. But to your point, they end up 9-3. Something's gone terribly wrong at the end of the year. This team should be 11-1 at a minimum. At a minimum. I mean, losing to Texas at the end of the year, I know no Aggie wants to do, but it's plausible. It's Texas on the road. I mean, that's tough. But if you're 11-1, you're absolutely in the mix for a playoff. Now, are you in the mix for a bye and all that kind of stuff? No, but just get in the dance. Ohio State proved that last year. They lost the last game to Michigan. Everyone thought, no, they're out. They played, playoff games, the first one at home, and then all of them, in bowl locations, and dominated.
Talking to Johnny Harris here on TexAgs Live. Johnny, does Vandy win this weekend?
Well, I think some of it has to do with, Arch, if Arch is back. Arch, I thought, played pretty well for the most part against Mississippi State. But Matthew Caldwell came in off the bench and just dropped a dime, in the end zone to give them a win. But Vanderbilt's a different animal, man. I think the one thing people are missing about Vanderbilt is how good defensively they are. They're long, athletic. They run up front really well. Linebackers are very smart and good. I think people have missed how good Vanderbilt is. I mean, they held Ahmad Hardy under 100 yards. So I think that Vanderbilt defense is a lot better than people think, and it's a whole lot better than Mississippi State's defense. I'll tell you that. And I've said this about Texas. I don't know if I said it on this show, David, or not, but I've said it to people. Texas doesn't, other than Ryan Niblett running kicks back, Texas offensively doesn't scare me. There are no weapons that I go, they got speed. Like, the receivers don't get open. I felt for Arch early in the year against Ohio State. He's dropping back to pass. His offensive line is garbage. And his receivers are just all getting clamped on. I'm like, man, they can't get open. What's up with this? And then you watch A&M, and that's why I've kind of emphasized, what Craver and Concepcion have done. They get separation everywhere. It just makes the game easier for Marcel Reed. So I think, yes, going down to Austin is going to be hard, but if there's a quarterback in a team, I think that can do it, especially the way they feel. I think Vanderbilt can do it.
Johnny, I know D'Amico got a little testy with the local media, but I feel that the way this season has gone, like they've been two different teams this year, the Texans, right? Like that performance against San Francisco, though, was like kind of what I think we all thought we were signing up for.
Yeah, no doubt. It was it was as emphatic a win. Yeah, it was 11-point win, but that was because we were 1 for 5 in the red zone. Had we been better in the red zone, I mean, it would have been a 34-15 win. But it obviously shows that there's still some work to do in the red zone. But we had 41 minutes time of possession. We held McCaffrey to 3.1 yards per carry. It was like 25 yards on 8 carries. You only had 3 receptions. You got 2 of them on a late fourth quarter drive when we're just trying to keep them in front and not make a big play. So yes, it absolutely has been 2 different teams, in large part because of the 2 different units. The defense has been dominant from day one. The offense has been trying to find itself. And when the bad offense shows up, well, you got the great defense and the bad offense. But when the good offense shows up, you got the good offense and the great defense, and that team can beat anybody in the NFL, anytime, anywhere, including the Denver Broncos coming to town. And I know Denver's hot, but this Texans team, if it plays good, solid, not mistake-filled Seattle Seahawks Monday Night Football type offense, they got a chance to beat anybody they play. And I know the Chiefs are coming around, and they're doing some good things. I know the Bills are maybe rounding back into shape. But I think if the Texans play solid, consistent offense, they didn't give up any sacks, there were only 2 pressures. They're not going to do that every single game. But if they can limit how many times CJ's got to run for his life, CJ gets some time to throw, he's going to pick people apart. And now these young receivers are starting to come along. And we played our best game. We didn't even have Nico, and he's one of the top 5 receivers in the league. So now if Nico can come back healthy, Christian can come back healthy, and now you got these young dudes learning, man, you're going to have an offense that can be, very diverse in what it does and hopefully be tougher to stop each and every week. So maybe we're hitting our stride at the right time. Maybe, Sunday was fool's gold because the offense can't keep it up. My guess is that the offense will start to play at a higher level consistently, and that will put us in the position we want to be. I just hope, unlike A&M, our margin for error is very, 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 very small because we start off the season 0-3. But if we can get 2 straight home games, then a trip to Tennessee before we come back home to play Buffalo, if we can get on a run here, win these next few games, that sets up a big Thursday night against Buffalo. You win that one, and anything is at your disposal at that point. But it's a long ways off. I just want the next offensive football play to be a good one, and the one after that, and the one after that. If we can do that, we'll have a shot against Denver, and that'll be a fun football game.
All right, Familia. Talk to you soon, brother.
All right, buddy. Love you, man. Talk to you soon.
Love you too, man. That's my guy, John Harris, dear friend. Bit of break. We'll come back and we'll just chew on some fat here. Caden's got some text to read and some insight. All right, let's talk duck camp. So this morning, not a fake story, a true story. I went for a run. It was a little chillier, so I put on my duck camp hoodie because you can do it anywhere. You can do it outdoors. You can do it for the grill. You can do it for the game. Whatever you want to do, duck camp gear's got you covered. They have it all. And by the way, they have a discount for TexAgs subscribers right now. If you use the code TexAgs25, 25% off your entire order. I'm telling you, jump on this. This is the first time that I've gotten this kind of the code for our listeners and our viewers. So make sure you jump on that TexAgs25 for 25% off. Brush pants if you're into brush pants if you're into that. Lightweight brush shirt. I don't know why I'm talking like that. Their essential hoodie, the softest, most comfortable hoodie that you'll own. You can wear it for honey. You can wear it outdoors. You can wear it for the game. You can wear it in any situation. This morning, the reason I put on the hoodie was like I opened the door to let the dogs out. Like, oh, it's a little colder than I like. Right? So I put it on. So comfortable. Great run. It was awesome. It is Duck Camp. Built for the outdoors. Designed for everything else. Remember to use the code TexAgs25 for 25% off of your order. There might not be a worse person on Twitter than Terry McCauley. You know who that is? Caden Schwartner at the Angry Elephant News Center?
Heard of him before.
He's that referee that just fights people on Twitter.
Right.
If you disagree with him, he's mean and like very angry old man. I don't know if he's old. He looks old in this picture. Don't follow him. And he'll block you, by the way, if you say anything to him. I haven't said anything to him. I don't engage. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Caden Schwartner's got a bunch of stuff for us before Jamie Morrison joins us. All right, Schwartner.
Talking about refs, funny that you mentioned it. People are talking about something that I thought was really funny. On KC's punt return for a touchdown, it's like all of us celebrated twice, right? He breaks a couple tackles, you see the opening, and you say, oh my goodness, he's going to score. Then you're looking at all the yellow on LSU's jerseys, and you're saying, where's the flag? Where's the flag? Where's the flag?
That. Yeah, I did that.
For 10 seconds, and then after he scores, you say, oh my gosh, he scored. No flags.
There was actually on that play, I think somebody had yellow shoes on their team. I know A&M's got guys that do that, and I was like, wait, is that a flag? Is that?
Yeah.
I legit asked myself that.
I mean, LSU.
You expect bad things, right?
LSU's got yellow gloves and yellow helmets, yellow pants. You're like, where's the flag? Anything could be a flag. Okay.
Thank goodness there wasn't one there.
So we were talking about the running game earlier, and obviously some backs have more carries than others. But I want you to guess out of the tailback room which back leads the team in yards per carry.
Which back leads the team with yards per carry? E.J. Smith.
Jamarian Morrow.
Okay, that was going to be my second.
Yeah, 5.7 yards per carry. Reuben Owens and Le'Veon Moss are right behind him. They're tied at 5.6 yards per carry. Then in the receiving room, which wideout do you think leads the team in yards per reception?
ABR?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good at this game.
Only has 10 receptions on the year, but still.
Had it been the Notre Dame game alone, it would be Mario Craver by a mile. But
exactly,
there's been a full season.
One-hander was incredible. Also, shout out to the Maroon Goons, the A&M offensive line. They've given up 0 sacks in 5 of 8 games on the season, including the last 3 SEC games.
They've been fantastic, keeping Marcel clean. And one of the beauties is, we have this fear because we know the history at A&M of what happens to quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you know this, Caden. If you don't get hit very often, the chance of you getting hurt go down.
That's true.
So that's just math, or that's just life.
It's math and football. Also helps when you have a quarterback that doesn't just have to run when he's in trouble. He can run whenever he wants to. It makes things easier.
It does make things easier. I know you had some comments from the humans.
Yeah, Josh was talking about something that I thought was really great, again, about the running backs. The ability to truly cycle our backs without a massive drop-off is one of the major factors in what makes this Ag offense so good, especially late in the season. And all of those backs are good in protection, so no one is a big liability or obvious run-only back.
It's interesting. That goes against what I would have thought entering into the season of any team, not just because Le'Veon Moss was here. But entering the season, I want the dude, right? When the game's on the line, give my guy the ball. And I think in a perfect world, that would be the case with Le'Veon, right? Like fourth quarter, game's tight, you give him the ball, you feel really good about it. Billy mentioned hopefully things, we're playing in December and that he can play come December. That all being said, I think the ability to stay fresh, the ability to give multiple looks, the ability to allow players to grow. This is another thing. Like I don't know what the offensive line is going to look like in 2026, right? But I know that they have used a lot of dudes this year. They're constantly going with 7 men, right? And that rotation, most of the guys are older players. But that being said, when you get opportunities for younger players to get this level of touches and action, it sets you up for more success the following year. A&M's got different dudes that they can rely on in different ways, and I think that is part of the success we've seen this year. That had you told me they're using 3, 4, 5 guys in the backfield and you're using multiple looks on the offense, I would have said, I don't know if that's a winning formula. They have made it a winning formula. They not only made it a winning formula, they made it an asset for this team.
Yeah, true. And something that's really exciting to me is none of the backs are getting run over when they need to pick up a blitz. They're genuinely knocking people on the ground and protecting Marcel.
The Tommy Moffitt effect.
The Tommy Moffitt effect.
By the way, rumor has it, I'll just say rumor has it. Read between the lines. Rumor has it. What do you think that? Don't say what you think it means. Do you know what it means?
Okay, sure.
Do you know what I mean when I say rumor has it?
Yes.
What, do you really, or you're just faking?
Well, you just told me not to say, so I guess we'll never know.
So now, will you tell me at the break?
Sure.
Rumor has it that whatever you think that means. I think Kate knows. You've read the rundown. You read the calendar. All right, let's hit a break here. When we come back, Jamie Morrison in studio. The run continues for Aggie volleyball. Let's hope it lasts for a really long time. Milliken Reserve time. They are a farm-to-table community in College Station. I drove by Milliken yesterday on my way to Houston for soccer for the kids. We're taking Welborn. You look on your left-hand side going down Welborn, and boom, there's the one entrance to Milliken Reserve. The second one, there's this house up front that you can go get your veggies. Go get your weekly veggies, guys. I like health, Kate. I don't know if you know that. And I like to live a long time, longevity. Get your veggies there from Milliken Reserve. You want to live a long time? You move to Milliken Reserve, too. You know why? Because you can go hiking. That's good for your health. Biking, canoeing, kayaking, equestrian trails. They got it all. They got all the animals you can imagine. They got some mean ones, but most of them are very nice. You go check it out at Milliken Reserve where you can go relax and reflect, and you can really grow as a family in the outdoors. It is Milliken Reserve. Check out the website, millikenreserve.com. That website, again, is millikenreserve.com. Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever, and also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group, and they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em. We are back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Texas A&M volleyball riding high, 5 straight wins, heading into a massive weekend that includes a showdown on Friday against a top 10 team from down the road. Let's talk about it with Jamie Morrison here on the program. How are you, sir?
Doing great. How are you doing today?
Let's take attendance real quick.
Hold on. How are you doing first?
We
got to check in on you too.
Well, I mean, usually when people ask me that, it's just the truth.
Yeah.
I don't think they're really asking.
Oh no, it's an American trait. Everyone, like when I went over to Europe, always say that. Like, why do you always ask how we're doing? Like, do you really? I'm like, no, I really do. Like, you're doing well.
I am doing well. Right. You know why I'm doing so well?
Why?
I am a much better host when all the teams at A&M are doing better. Like people like me more. Like people hated me at certain times over the last couple of years. They like me again.
That's usually how it works as a head coach too.
Yeah.
Like when you're winning, people like you a little bit more.
People like you. Like right now in Baton Rouge, believe it or not, they don't like Brian Kelly.
Oh yeah, no, I picked up on that during a couple chants that were happening during the game.
We love you.
I appreciate that.
We love Coach Elko. We love a lot of folks here on campus. I want to do this. I want to take attendance. What are you doing on Halloween?
Going to the volleyball game.
Okay. He's going to the volleyball game.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What is everybody doing on
I'm going
Halloween?
to a volleyball game too, so
that's good.
You can bring candy. I mean,
through that.
Right?
I think we're doing some trick-or-treating in the concourse up top, so
okay.
There's lots going on. Yeah.
So there we go. So along with a massive, massive game, we'll get to that here in a moment, the massive weekend really with both Tennessee and Texas.
Yep.
Just how are you feeling about things?
I'm feeling good. Our team showed a lot of grit over the weekend. I think we're in a really good spot, both kind of mentally, physically, volleyball-wise. So, team, and it's exciting. Like heading into a big weekend, and you said it, both teams were really, really good. But these, I don't know, are the ones that you get up for that get you fired up. So, excited for Friday to come.
Been on the road quite a bit, and some home cooking. How nice is it? Beyond the atmosphere at Reed, just to be back at home and be around your just everything.
I mean, it really is everything. It's being around family, it's being around friends, it's being around kind of your rhythm of the day. And again, people see the thing that happens on Friday in terms of like you're, I don't know, playing at home in front of your fans, but being able to have your normal rhythm is really, really important. And I think that's a big deal. So like for me, I was actually out recruiting for a day also. So just being around family and being able to spend time with my daughter, with my wife, and hang out at home.
You all have been able to overcome some deficits. Talk about the be able to face early adversity, and then it feels like if you're just a box score watcher, you're like, oh, they didn't have that much adversity, but you go through it.
Yeah, no, we were down in probably 4 of the sets over the weekend, and I think the thing we can play cleaner. We talked about that, but the thing I think I admired about our team is just we never panicked. It was constant problem-solving mode, and it was never the same solution. Like we found different ways to get out of each of those sets, whether it be 3 key stuffs that sometimes our offense picked up in a second set of the LSU match. Fenna went on a serving run in one of those, so it was different things in every single set that caused us to come out with 2 victories over the weekend against 2 really good volleyball teams. And I was saying this to the coaches as I was out there. Just I don't think records in the SEC are indicating how good people are necessarily. I think everyone's beating up on everybody, and I think us, Texas, and Kentucky have kind of come out unscathed, and we have the 1 loss to Kentucky, but. And then Tennessee, I'm going to keep saying it. They're a really, really good volleyball team, and we have them on Sunday. So it's a back-to-back weekend.
Problem-solving mode. So what goes into it for you all? Like it's you don't. Do you have an eye in the sky? Do you just kind of see it and then you confer with your coaches? Like what goes into your problem-solving mode?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go. If you watch kind of what happens in a timeout, we usually confer as coaches for a quick minute, and that's our time to kind of sit there and kind of be like, all right, these are the things we need to dial in on here. And I really try to be as concrete as I can and as specific as I can. So try to come in with no more than 3 things that we're going to try to go out and do until the next time out. And then it's kind of from there. It's like, all right, trial and error with they're trying this against us. I'm going to use, the Ole Miss match. They were running a lot of BIC, which is the back row kind of in the middle of the court. And it was, all right, we're going to have to make some adjustment on this because it was killing us. And we tried that out and it seemed to work. So then we stuck with it. Or at other times it's been, hey, we're going to try this at 5 points. And I'm like, that was failure. My bad. We're going to move on to something else, plan B or C here. But I think it's a little bit of here's the biggest thing that's hurting us that we can't fix. I mean, there's some stuff that's uncontrollable. It could just be a player going off. And it's like, hey, like, I don't know, we're doing everything right. There was an instance of this over the weekend too. I don't remember what it was, where it's like, all right, like that's going to happen. Let's go focus on the stuff we can't control over here. And it's a little bit of that process.
I mean, I assume knowing you the way I do, you love the problem solving part of it, right? Like just like, let's figure this out. Like it's not an anger thing. It's like, all right, I see what they're doing. Now here's our chess piece.
Yeah. No, my favorite matches of the year, like match 1 and 2, where you don't really have a scouting report.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't really know what's going to happen. Here's what happened last year, but we're going to have to kind of bob and weave as this goes. So I do love it.
So at this point in the year, especially in the SEC, you kind of have a feel for how teams want to play. I guess what I'm saying is, are there a lot of surprises that teams can still do?
No. I mean, there's subtle differences in the way that they play.
Uh-huh.
So, like, again, Ole Miss started running a lot more BIC, and all of a sudden it was like, all right, we're going to have to adjust to this as it goes. So, but you tend to notice them pretty quickly because at this point of the year, you have so much. Like, usually we're like trying to get 6 matches scouted per team, and I think for Texas we have 13 just because we've kind of had them against other people before. So it's one of those things where you know them so well that if they do something completely different, you notice it like that. So I think you start to pick up on the things that they're trying to do a little bit different, faster also.
What about at this point of the season? Do rotations change? Do you just handle business the same way? I mean, the stakes keep getting higher, right?
Yeah, most teams are getting pretty consistent. There's been a few, like, I mean, we were going against Ole Miss, and they had like 5 different arrangements that could have players, and it was usually the same players, but their opposite had played a little outside in some matches. So, but usually you're picking up on trends kind of coming into that match where like, all right, they've done this 2 or 3 in a row. This is probably what we're going to see. But then I think from a scouting standpoint, the next layer that you go to is like, all right, this is a change that they could make within the match. And you have so much information now. It's like, when that change happens on personnel, this is how it changes the way they're playing. And for some teams, it might be there's no change. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And for other teams, it's like, hey, if this middle blocker comes in, this rotation is going to turn into this. This is how we're going to act accordingly. Right. Or we just have that in the back of our brains and maybe not overloading our athletes with it.
Stop me if you've heard this before, but if then I got
yes.
another defensive player.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like I think our team, and I'll bring it back to her, is doing some things where it's just become the norm.
Mm-hmm.
Like we get this many kills per set, and it's like, oh yeah, we did that last week, and like, but you look at that compared to other teams, and you're like, no, and like same thing with her. Like you look at, and it's interesting because there's some stuff out there that's actually posting like how we keep track of stats.
Mm-hmm.
So the way the NCAA keep track of blocks is you get a block assist if you were next to somebody that got a stuff block, not if you actually touched the volleyball. Whereas the way that we keep track of stats, the way they keep track of stats internationally, it's who stuffed the volleyball. Someone actually put out what the blocks per set is for the SEC based on who blocked it, and she's like half a block for higher than anybody else.
Wow.
So it's even a bigger jump than if you were to look at it the way that we're keeping track of stats. So just I've said it. I think she's one of the best blockers in the world. And I would, take that bet if somebody were to put me up against somebody internationally. I think she's up there. And just her ability to manipulate her hands and do things along those lines. And then I'm not sure what goes into defensive player of the week. I don't know if serving is a piece of it, but that thing's become a weapon too. And it's not just the aces that she's getting. She's causing constant, turmoil on the other side. We're playing Ole Miss, and they have to throw 4 passers out there, and actually did a decent job. And they were passing her, then all of a sudden went on one run. Like I said, like she went off in one of those of like 6 or 7 points to the point where I had to ask her if she was tired when she was done with it. So she's affecting the game, and I don't know, that phase of it at a level I don't think anybody else in the country is doing it.
So this may sound like a dumb question, but for both her and Logan, they were really good coming in. They were great heading into the season, but they've grown. Where have they grown this year?
Yeah, and I always talk to her about this with our players is the growth curve. And I know some people are listening on TV, so I'll try to explain this or on the radio. The growth curve is really sharp and high at the beginning of it, especially like when I took over the program and all of this stuff is brand new, and then it starts to taper off.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were to be the thing, and this is everybody, this is everybody on our team, but the margins of improvement start to become small. And if I were to be the thing that I think have gotten better, it's can I pay attention to those small little details and the small little things in a scouting report and the small little things we're trying to get better at. But again, this is our entire team. Like I think Morgan's leading the conference in hitting efficiency right now. Maddie's leading the conference in assists per set right now. Like if you were to look at kind of across the board, everyone's making these tiny little chunks. And that's probably the hardest piece as a coach is like, hey, we're good right now, but we're trying to be great. And all of these things where you got, the endorphin kick of I got 5% better at practice today. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get that this year because you're getting 0.05% better at practice today because you're so good right now. And it's, can we push through that and work hard to get those tiny little changes? And I think that's where those two, and again, our entire team has gotten better.
Isn't that the hard part for all athletes, right? Like in the beginning or when you see these massive growth spurts that it's easy to work. But when you can't physically see it, the sand in the hourglass is the way I look at it.
Yeah. Then it's like a sand, imagine one little grain of sand was going per day or something like that. That's what it feels like right now. Of like, it's not like watching this thing constantly go. It's like this slow drip of we are getting better. And that is the hardest point. And I think that's also like, if you were to look at, I don't know, what separates the good from the great, like it's the Steph Curry getting in and shooting 5,000 shots a day, even though he's one of the best shooters in the world, maybe ever. Like he's still going to go in and put that work and try to find that tiny little thing that can get him that much better. And I will always remember, I always show it to our athletes, but there was this was like, I don't know, 15 years ago with LeBron James, but during one of the off seasons, it was like 2 weeks after the season ended, and him, Akeem Olajuwon, for those that are young, one of the best centers ever to play basketball, were like teaching post-up moves to a guy that's a small forward, and he was just like, I want to improve this small piece of my game.
Was it LeBron or Kobe?
LeBron.
It was LeBron. Okay, so Kobe did it too.
Kobe, yeah.
And by the way, I grew up watching Akeem Olajuwon, one of my favorite players of all time.
I'm also saying that in Texas, so people probably know who he is. But yeah, and it was really interesting, like just watching that piece of like, all right, I'm going to try to like pick apart this small game. That doesn't matter that much in my position.
Sure.
But I still want to get really, really good at it. And I think that's one of the things that, again, separates the good from the great. It's not, I don't know, frustration that I'm not great at this thing yet. It's I'm going to dive into it, lean into it, and I'm going to keep getting better at it.
What are practices like right now?
Hyped right now. It's you go through kind of lulls in the season where you're in the middle of it, and like season gets long, and all of a sudden you get this weekend happening. And as we were getting off the plane from the road trip this weekend, I just talked about the fact that there's 2 matches this weekend that we got to be ready for, and I think they've seat both of those. So we're just, I don't know, crossing out any color orange anywhere between the 2 that we have this weekend and getting to work.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it because it is massive for what the postseason and the future looks like.
Yeah, no, and you got 2 really good ranked opponents. And obviously one of them is at home, and I'm going to push people to come and watch and be a part of that. And then you got Tennessee on Sunday. And both of them are huge from NCAA tournament seedings. They're both top 25 RPI teams, so there's a bonus if you beat them. They're both really good volleyball teams, and it's going to be a grind. And we really have to be ready to play, and then I'm going to say 3 days in a row, because we got to be ready to go out on Friday and play a good volleyball match. We got to be ready to go prepare on Saturday, and then we got to be ready to go grind again on Sunday.
We travel Saturday afternoon?
Probably travel Saturday at some point, I think in the morning. Get out there. They have a football game going on, so we're trying to work our practice around when traffic's going to be heavy in there. So all the things people don't know you have to think about.
All the things you got to think about. Great luck this weekekend.
I appreciate it.
Everybody go trick or treat there at Reed and watch them. And
I got to point it out Friday. And again, the 12th man, you guys have been amazing. So the one thing I got to talk to our team out is channeling that, because I thought the first set last year we got a little too hyped. So, but please come out, support. I'm excited to be in that atmosphere again.
Yep. It'll be great. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jamie Morrison here on TexAgs Live. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with a very short Around Aggieland with Kaylee Dreyer. Insurance decisions shouldn't be made in 15 minutes or less. Rollo Insurance builds lasting relationships through education. They've done that for a long time in this community. Jason, Jackson, the entire team at Rollo Insurance is going to give you the best possible insurance situation for your family needs, whether it be family, car, business, ranch, whatever it may be. Let them start the process for you, and their educational approach is going to empower you to make informed decisions about protecting your family, your home, and your business. Many clients discover better protections at competitive rates simply because they understand what their options are. Visit them at rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. 888-44-ROLLO today. That is 888-44-ROLLO. Kaylee Dreyer, gave you no time. So I just want to give you less time now. There's a thread on TexAgs.com on the premium board that's like Nuño or David. Call me David. Spill the beans, because I hinted about something, and we were talking about Tommy Moffitt, and I said I got to look at the calendar, and people can't figure out what I'm talking about. But can you give a hint of what I'm talking about?
It's going to be some great content, so you should subscribe and check it out.
See, you're very good. By the way, I have this vision that Tommy and I become the best of friends. You know, he's my boy, right? Like, and we start working out together, and like we're shooting videos like Pate does. That's what I envision. Anyway, what do we have on Around Aggieland?
So starting with Aggie football, obviously yet another win and a great second half to take down LSU 49-25. The Aggies are now 5-0 in conference play, 8-0 on the season for the first time since 1992. Marcel Reed led the offense and earned his first SEC Offensive Player of the Week award, which made his first career game with 2 passing and 2 rushing touchdowns. The Aggies put up 310 yards of total offense, while Marcel rushed for a career-high 108 rushing yards on 13 carries, while passing for 202 yards on 12 of 21 attempts. Casey Concepcion had 177 all-purpose yards to go along with 1 receiving score and 1 punt return touchdown. The Aggie defense also made a difference in this win. They limited LSU to 1 score after halftime. Dalton Brooks had a team-high 6 tackles, and Cassius Howell tallied yet another SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week award.
Sorry, you only had a minute, 12 seconds.
It's fine. Check it out on TexAgs.
There you go. That's Kaylee Dreyer. When we come back, Jason Howell. That and more. It's TexAgs. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Recruiting Country. Brought to you by American Momentum Bank. We go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Jason Howell joins us here on the program. Mr. Howell, how are you, sir?
I'm great. It's an awesome time to be covering Texas A&M, man. Gotta love everything that's happening on the field, on the recruiting trail, and wow, good times.
It is great times. So, and for you, like I'm assuming, all right, you're out there covering games and you're talking to folks. Like, what's the vibe like when you talk to not only recruits, because I know you've had a lot of that, but maybe some of the administrators around these schools that you deal with?
Yeah, everybody is super high on what A&M's doing right now. You saw Bronny's piece on the developmental aspect and not just recruiting from the stars and the rankings and all that. They're out there doing evaluations, they're talking to coaches, they're getting real insight, and doing a bang up job all the way around, and it's noticed across the state and across the country. They are definitely making waves in a big way. Like you said, with recruits, with parents, and coaches and administrators out there, man.
Talking to Jason Howell here on TexAgs Live. Jason, I'm going to jump around a little bit. I know we have some talking points to get to, but I just think one of the things that are very interesting is the way they buy their groceries. All right, and I'm talking about the transfer portal because we're in a different world where if you bring in the wrong guys to your program, it can disrupt what you're trying to build. This team has shown, that they can develop players from the program, right? And also handpick not only superstars, but guys that fit exactly what they're trying to do. And I would assume folks going into the transfer portal, not only is A&M going to be selective, but that's probably eye-popping for other guys. I want to be a part of that.
Yeah, and I'll say this, with KC and Mario, those were guys that the staff, they got to play against those guys. They had to game plan against those guys. And other players on the team, especially in Mario's case, had to line up and go against that guy and go, okay, that dude's a dog. We want him on our side next time. And so you get that kind of, you get that kind of perspective out of the portal that you may not be able, that you're not going to get out of the high school recruiting ranks. So I think you've seen a lot of that where, like Armaje Reed-Adams, a lower rated recruit from a high profile program in the state of Texas, goes to Kansas and develops for a few years and gets experience and reshapes his body in a way that when it is time, when A&M does come calling, he's his ranking is a little bit different than it was out of high school, and what he's been able to do. I know A&M was a school he always loved at DeSoto, and when they came calling, he was excited to be a part of it. So the transfer portal brings a whole different aspect to it. Nate Boerkircher is a guy I think the staff had some pretty good knowledge and insight into. I know Nebraska fans were not excited to see him go. They wanted him to stay and be a part. I know there were some big plans for him, and A&M being able to grab him and see that path continue, and him be such an integral part and a Swiss Army knife and matchup problem out there has been, it definitely makes them look incredibly smart.
And Cassius Howell, they just hit Mario Craver, all these names. And they're becoming Aggie legends, I guess, if you will. Like, there are going to be names that we're going to talk, especially if this season continues down that path, names that we're going to kind of associate long-term with A&M.
Well, and one thing that they've done is they've gotten guys like Cassius and Amaje, and you've got Marcus Ratcliffe and Will Lee, guys that are multi-year guys in the program. It's not like these were one-year rental guys. You've got Des Ricks, who showed tremendous potential last year, and now he's really recognizing it. Who's a guy that, you know, if he sticks around, he'll be a third-year program guy. So I do love, you got to love that approach, and the way they've really supplemented both the high school recruiting and connected everything with the team and the culture and what they're trying to build.
Here with Jason Howell and TexAgs. All right, Jason, the aftermath of LSU. So there was carnage on the Baton Rouge side from a coaching perspective.
Yeah.
And that's leaving, you know, look, they're probably going to figure it out and get a good coach, and we'll see how that affects things. But there is aftermath because of what happened.
Well, and really what I'm talking about is going into that game, we knew that they were going to have a visitor list that was going to have a lot of crossover prospects. And while A&M didn't have, they're going to be away from Kyle Field for a little bit. So this was almost a home game. This was a chance to get out and make a big impression. And A&M was going to have just as many key targets at this game as LSU was. And you had Jace Matthews, and you had Braylon Womack and Lamar Brown there in the 26 class that are all three guys A&M has been checking in on, and a possible flip watch with those guys, and as well as 27 prospects like 5-star tight end Ahmad Hudson, offensive lineman Kennedy Brown, Ishmael Kamara, Albert Simeon, and a big-time edge out of Georgia, DJ Jacobs, who had just recently visited A&M. You know, these are high-end, high-priority prospects who now have seen A&M do some really big things on the football field, experience that atmosphere, and seeing the 12th man do its thing, whether it's at home at Kyle Field or that, you know, that ending there in Death Valley was pretty unique and special from a fan perspective as well. And they see that support. They see what that can do, and how things can work at Texas A&M, both on the field and with the support that comes with it.
Could there be potentially other ripple effects for maybe not folks that were in attendance or even LSU-ish, but like somebody watching in California or somebody watching in Oregon?
Absolutely.
And like, dude, I want to be a part of that.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked to kids that weren't there. Raylan Henry, Devin Robertson, Jackson Roper. We got feedback from a lot of these guys, and I mean, it's not just what happened at LSU. It's just what they're doing in general, and the messaging they're getting from the coaches. It's all matching up. Just like you hear the team talk about the culture and everything. It's real tangible. These prospects and these families, they can see it. And that's important. I know we've talked about, and Bronny's analogy, you can sell the sizzle for a while, but you got to bring the steak. Man, right now it's a buffet line of ribeye. They are killing it with what they're showing on the production side, the development side, and everybody. I mean, I heard more national championship talk from the current commits to, guys just looking in going, this is a real team. This is, and it's not that they're listening to the talking heads or even what they're hearing from the coaches. They're seeing it with their own eyes that there's a lot of potential and a lot of things going right in College Station.
Nothing wrong with talking heads, okay? Just saying out loud, Jason. There's nothing wrong with it.
I mean, hey, what am I, right? I'm a floating head in your Zoom call right now, so.
All right, so look, I know that Bronny's been saying for a while, you've said it, like A&M can be selective about what they do with 26, right? So what's still out there for 26? And like potentially Lamar Brown is a name that we hear a lot. Like what do you think? Like What is still possible for that class?
Well, not only can they be selective, they will be selective. They're not going to take anybody that's not somebody they have listed as a difference maker. We've talked about different guys, Jace Matthews, Braylon Womack at safety, both Auburn commits. You've got, Tank Jones, who visited, Oregon commit, Tristan Keys out there, Tennessee commit. Legend Bay committed to Tennessee as well. You've got some guys, but they aren't going to take just anybody, and they're not. They're also not in a position where they have to take anybody. And from the high school ranks, if the guy's not there, if he's not a difference maker, they're good. Let's move on to the portal and see what happens. They're going to be an attractive landing spot for a number of guys. You see the rotation that they're doing at receiver, at DB. Even on the offensive line, you've got guys getting in and working in. If they're good enough to be on the field, they're getting on the field, and that's an attractive thing for guys coming out of the portal, looking for an opportunity to showcase what they can do. And A&M's going to have some needs. Right now, looking at offensive tackle and defensive tackle, right. I wouldn't say there's an offensive tackle that A&M went down to the wire for that I would necessarily say, watch for that flip from the high school ranks. But it is something you can dive into in the portal. And defensive line, you've got a couple guys, Lamar Brown, Jamie and Winfield, are guys that we've been monitoring for a while, and we'll see how that all plays out. But I look for both of those to be potential targets in the portal.
Remind me, how many commits is it? 27 commits right now?
27.
27. Yeah. So what is that's a lot already, right? So what's
yeah, I mean, at most you're probably looking at like 30, maybe, but it's going to take the right guys. It's going to take these 5 stars, a few of these 5 stars going, you know what, I'm good. I'm flipping over. And you can see that, and it's something we continue to bring up because you see this coaching cycle. You see these the carousel really kicking up, and coaching changes happening, and it causes some guys to take a look around. I know, there's been a lot of talk about LSU and how they haven't had any decommits and how they picked up a commitment yesterday, and how LSU is just a little bit different. And while there is some something to that, it being Louisiana and LSU being the big time program, they're just as susceptible to decommitments as well. And we'll see what happens there, as well as what happens with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss and the fallout from Florida. And a lot of these guys, it's all fresh and they're just starting to figure it out. But November, early December, signing days, December 3rd.
Wow.
So it's going to be a very short window between that last game and what happens. Some of these schools may not have a head coach going into signing day. So that's something that, it's got me thinking, it's going to make possibly a guy like Brian Kelly or, I'm blanking on Franklin,
James Franklin
up at Penn State.
Yep.
Some of these guys that could possibly step in and be, take on the recruiting side and settle things. Could be a big plus for some of these programs that already have coaching openings. So it could make those guys more of an option. But it's going to be real interesting coming down. The good thing is A&M in a pretty good stable spot, looking really good, a very attractive landing spot for a lot of guys. So you could see some potential moves there. But right now, it's all still very fluid and playing out, and I expect more definitive action down the line. But A&M in a very enviable position.
Well, I'm looking through the total commits and how many are early enrollees, and holy smokes, those are quite a few of them. It's
It's pretty much everybody is going to be an early enrollee. There may be one or two. I know Brandon Arrington just said that he's going to be enrolling early, and which is big news. You know, he's moving in and foregoing his senior season of track in California. So, you know, you've got a lot of big things happening with that, but that's also the trend in recruiting right now. These guys want to get in early, go through spring ball, and kind of hit the ground running. And it's been that way in the last couple recruiting cycles. And you know, it's something that a lot of these guys are doing, and A&M is definitely taking advantage.
All right, Jason, 2027, they're rolling there too.
Yes, and there's a few, you know, decisions coming up that we're monitoring pretty closely. Saturday, November 1st, keep an eye on Kamari Dorsey out of Hampton, Georgia. You know, he visited for the A&M Mississippi State blackout game. 6'2", 195, 200 pounds, big safety. He's down to LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, Georgia Tech, Florida State, Ohio State, and A&M. And he's got a decision coming up. A&M has been trending well there since his visit, and has really made a big time impression on him. That blackout game was something else, and he gave it as high praise as you could for a visit weekend. So Kyle Field, 12th man, and the play on the field all delivered, and A&M looks like they're in a good spot there going into Saturday. You got another one coming up, and a couple Saturdays down the line. November 15th, Raylan Henry out of St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, Maryland, one of the top programs in the country. This has been a guy that A&M's been on and prioritized for a long time. He's down to A&M, Alabama, Ohio State, Indiana, Penn State, and Tennessee. And he visited for the Florida game. He's, potentially coming back. But you're talking about a big, 6'2", 180-pound cover corner. Really showed out at camp. I know Coach Peterson and A&M made a big impression this summer. He was blown away on his visit. Alabama, he took a visit to Alabama shortly after A&M, and I know with Jarrett Edwards and some of the connections that he has at Alabama, the Crimson Tide are a big player. Ohio State is also very much in the mix. I put those three at the top. I personally, I like where A&M's situated, and there's talk of him visiting for that South Carolina game, which, hey, if he makes it down, I'd say that's a pretty good indicator.
All right, Jason, we'll set a break. We'll come back with another segment. Got the bye week to talk about, and just how busy those coaches are. Right now, we're talking about The Daily Company. They're a family-owned, licensed, and insured business that offers everything you can imagine, well, in the HVAC, electrical world, and plumbing world. They also have generator services, and that's available to you 24/7, 365, all day, all the time. That's what they do. When it comes to the HVAC, they'll take care of your thermostat, your refrigerant leaks, your furnace failures, your seasonal tune-ups. Plumbing-wise, they'll get those leak repairs taken care of, clogged drains, water heater installation, maintenance to keep those pipes in top shape. Electrical wiring, outlets and repairs, upgrades for safety and efficiency. And they have the generator repair service, maintenance, and installation to make sure you're taken care of anytime there's a power outage. They serve all of Bryan College Station, Houston, and Austin. They have upfront pricing with no surprises. What you need to do is contact the Daily Company now. 979-260-2020. That's 979-260-2020. Or visit them at godaily.com and experience the daily difference. I can see Jason Howell back in the day walking into the club, little Annie Lennox in the background, Eurythmics just bobbing his head. He's got a Mai Tai in one hand, a cigarette in the other, just bobbing in there. I can see it. It's TexAgs Live. We're doing Recruiting Country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank. We're going to get to you in a second, Jason, but we're going to go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center because we don't typically ask for this, but we accept it and we appreciate it. The Cali Enigma did what?
$5 super chat. I appreciate what you do at TexAgs. I've been a fan since the Southwest Conference days. I grew up watching A&M on the Sports Channel and national TV.
Well, the Cali Enigma, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate it. And you deserve this 8-0 start and a longer one because you've been there since you're a day one. So thank you very much for that. All right. So let's go back to Jason Howell on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. So, Jason, hopefully in about 6 or 7 weeks, we're talking about an A&M playoff game. Hopefully, right? But there is work to do beforehand. And they are going to work this weekend in the bye week.
Yeah. No, I mean, you got practices and everything, but they're going to be hitting the road. Hearing a lot of the staff is going to be out there checking in with, commitments and a few key, prospects, seeing some games on Thursday and Friday. So we'll see what happens. I know there's going to be some activity in Houston and Dallas, and I'm sure beyond the borders of the Lone Star State. We're still tracking down a little bit of information and gathering all that. But look for these guys to be out there, making waves and taking advantage of it. And that's what you got to do. And that's one thing I love about what this whole staff has done, from the recruiting staff to the coaching staff and everybody in between. They don't let opportunities slip through their fingers. With that 3-game homestand, they took full advantage. They got so many top priority prospects in town to see what's going on in College Station, and that helped lay a foundation. They took advantage of not only the opportunity on the field, but those phones are blowing up over there, and in the aftermath of what happened in Baton Rouge. So they're making sure that information gets out there, that people are seeing what's happening in College Station, and that the right people are seeing what's happening in College Station.
We're talking to Jason Howell on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. All right, Mr. Howell, so we've got some big recruiting weekends overall, though. So, yeah, you got the bye week work, but there's a couple home games to consider, and there's still plenty of time. So let's kind of break down where we are with that.
Yeah, so Samford coming up is going to be one to watch for me. It's one of those low key matchups, but if you have some high priority targets in town that weekend, that's a insanely great indicator of the interest there. And so you got home games with Samford, even if Kirk can't read the graphic, and You've got South Carolina coming to town, which is going to set up for another big game. That's probably your last home game, big blowout recruiting weekend, and of course, you're going to have another crossover matchup where you're going to have a lot of top priority prospects in Austin when you take on the Longhorns. So you're going to have a great opportunity to take advantage of some things, and it's gonna be a who's who. I think really for South Carolina and for that game in Austin, where those are going to be hot tickets for a lot of top priority prospects.
Excuse the ignorance, okay? But let's just say that A&M continues down this path and they host a home playoff game, right? Let's just, for instance, say that. That could be a 27 recruiting moment, right? Like, I mean, I would assume it would. How does that work? Was that?
Well, yeah. I'll be honest. I don't know. I need to dig into that and see. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Last year, home playoff games, how that worked out for those teams. But I know. Yeah, that'll definitely be something to watch. I know that's a dead period in recruiting.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah, but and they're are no in-home or no on-campus visits there, but I'm not sure if there's a loophole. I know like in August, that was a dead period, but for football or for games, there was a little bit of a loophole. So, but yeah, I'll have to look into that. I'd be speaking out of ignorance a little bit right now, but regardless, what we see is they have attention of everybody and of the guys that they're really in on, and I think they're going to have eyeballs on them one way or another, whether it's in town or over the TV.
All right. Before we close out, let's kind of wrap up. We've got decision dates on Dorsey, on Henry, and McCarty, correct?
Yeah, McCarty is December 8th, and A&M's right there in the middle of all that. He just set the sack record, I think, out there, and is doing big things out there in Cyprus. So keep an eye on him, one of the top edge rushers in the state. And that defense has got to have his attention. I know talking to different defensive ends and things like that, they all see what's happening with Cassius and all those guys, really. I mean, Cassius is doing his thing, but they see what's happening on that defensive line, and it's been a lot of fun for those guys to take in.
Mr. Howell, I appreciate you, sir.
Anytime.
Thank you very much. Jason Howell there on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. All right, as a reminder, friends, autograph time. You live in Houston. Close enough.
Close enough.
You ever make it to the Galleria area?
A couple times.
Yeah. You ever get an autograph?
Nope.
Never in your life got an autograph? Never?
Not that I can remember.
Okay, you're not a real person. They don't make people like you. Okay? Real people have at least once or twice said, hey, Mr. Weatherman, can I get your autograph? You don't do it. So you'll miss out on the Johnny Manziel experience, on the Marcel Reed experience. I feel like I'm talking mad. And to the Casey Concepcion experience and the Mario Craver experience because of Spitterman Sports, you're going to miss out on that opportunity?
I will not. I will.
Okay.
I think I will be.
All right. Well, now you've become an autograph person.
Yes.
Well, I know most humans like autographs, especially of their favorite Aggies. And if not, well, you need to reconsider how you love A&M. And go hang out with our good friends Saturday, November 1st, Fitterman Sports, Post Oak location at Central Supply in Houston, Texas. Bring your helmets, your jerseys, and that unbeatable Aggie pride for autographs, photos, and memories that'll last a lifetime. So tickets are going fast. Don't wait. Head to FittermanSports.com right now and lock in yours before they are gone. Make sure to follow Fitterman Sports on Facebook, Instagram for all the action. That is FittermanSports.com, Saturday, November the 1st. It is Fitterman Sports, the Fighting Texas Aggies. Be there. Let's go straight to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our friend Peter Burns is joining us from the SEC Network. PB, I forget, I think you knew that we talked to Robert Earl Keen on the show not long ago, and that was one of the highlights of my career, man. It was fun.
I mean, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I cannot believe I live in a world in which Robert Earl Keen is my opening act for TexAgs Radio. I'm like, it was a highlight of mine as well too, buddy.
You know
what's happening?
Well, the best part about that, by the way, we were talking about autographs earlier, so I'll ask you that in a second. But the best part about that is he sent a message to Callie Gardner, who works here, and said how much fun he had doing the interview. So when a legend like that likes the interview, that just shows you it went well. What's the best autograph you have, or when you were a kid, in your arsenal? Unless you still get autographs.
Man, I can still remember. I don't do a lot of autographs. I mean, and I think the first one I can remember, I was up in Dallas, Texas. I was living in Pottsboro. We had come down as a family for, I can't remember something, and we ended up having dinner, and I saw Everson Walls, who was a cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys, at a dinner, and random. And I remember my dad had a business card in the back of his wallet, and he came up, and I went up there and I was like, Mr. Everson, may I grab a autograph? And he couldn't be any nicer. And I had that in my room for the longest time. And like, you know, that was kind of like, you know, autographs were the big thing before, you know, I mean, camera phones, right? You didn't have an opportunity to take a picture when you saw somebody out there. Now it's all about, you know, hey, grabbing a selfie with somebody and putting it on your Instagram wall or something.
Talking to Peter Burns here on TexAgs Live. Peter, did A&M, I think the answer is yes, but I'll just ask you anyway. Did A&M do LSU a favor by that beatdown on Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, you know, hindsight's always 20/20. I'm the first person, or I can remember coming on your guys' show back in the day and said the first person I'd hire before he was even on the radar was Brian Kelly, because I thought, like Scott Woodward thought, that this is a Hall of Fame coach. He's been there before. He's been so close over in Notre Dame. You give him the athletes, the fan base, the monetary support of LSU, and why not? Sky's the limit, especially coming off of the kind of the way that it fell apart behind the scenes with Ed Ogeron after his run in 2019. And the way it looked, I'd never seen anything like it. I mean, for Aggies to turn that into, you know, Kyle Field East, you know, as Marcel has, you know, allegedly talked about, like, it was impressive. You know, like an Anchorman where they're like, hey, you ate the whole wheel of cheese, Baxter? Like, I'm not even mad. I'm impressed. And I came away impressed because I've been saying I thought A&M was the number one team in the SEC for the last couple of weeks.
Why can A&M win it all, in your opinion? Or can they, I guess, is the follow-up to that.
But why? I mean, absolutely. I mean, you're telling me, do you have a defense that travels? Absolutely, you got that. Have you shown the ability to win games in different ways, either a shootout on the road in South Bend or a defensive battle like they had at Auburn earlier this year? Yes, you can do it. Do you have a coach that just seems like he's pushing all the right buttons? Yes. Do you have a mobile quarterback? And this is the big thing that I knew LSU was doomed at the beginning of the season, is because I looked at it and they're like, if you don't have a mobile quarterback, you better damn have one of the best offensive lines in the country. Well, Aggies have both. They have a great offensive line, and they have a mobile quarterback who only gets more and more confident as the weeks go. You've got playmakers. I mean, this is as good of a team as anybody. I think they're as good of an Ohio State. I think they're better than or as good as an Indiana and Alabama right now. I mean, this is what the Aggies are and what they were hoping they would get under Sumlin or Jimbo Fisher, and now they actually have it.
So that's the thing about moving on from Jimbo. And I've told you before, I actually liked Jimbo. I thought it should have worked regardless of some of the mistakes he made. But when things start to spiral out of control, you don't get it back on the rails, right? And what Coach Elko's done is provided, at least, you know, in a copycat world, a blueprint of you can get things right. That's what LSU's banking on. And A&M right now is riding high because of it.
Yeah, I mean, I go back and look, and I called Oko kind of the Teddy Roosevelt of college football, and not just from the looks of it, but just the fact of he's like, hey, speak softly and carry a big stick. And, you know, it wasn't in the press conferences where he would win it like Jimbo tried to, you know, kind of get a little squirrely with Nick back in the day, or even with Sumlin a little bit of more kind of, you know, sparky headlines and gimmicky offenses. This is like, hey, we're going to go put in the work and we're going to play big boy football. And that's legitimately what they're doing right here, right now. But again, I think that's part of what Penn State did and part of what LSU did is they probably looked at saying, man, $75 million is a stupid, ridiculous amount of money to pay somebody to not work, right? But then again, it worked for A&M, right? Like right now, so far, and this feels different than, the battered Aggie syndrome, that's done. And I remember when Mike Elko first took the job, and you remember it as well, that presser, when he was asked about last year, he quickly says there is no last year. Like it starts now, and we're talking about forward. And I think that's the right way to handle it. That's the reason why they're atop of college football right now.
Peter, I think this is such a cool time in the SEC because there's so many different storylines that are the most intriguing, right? You've got the A&M storyline, like not coming out of nowhere, but people not believing they can break through. You got Vanderbilt this week with a real opportunity to cement themselves as a real playoff threat. You've got Ole Miss. They changed their quarterbacks. It doesn't matter. They change it midseason. It doesn't matter. They find ways to get to 10, 11 wins. Alabama loses to Florida State. They're now on their huge run. LSU, who would have thought they would have fired Brian Kelly at least this early in the run? A lot of great storylines, man.
Yeah, I mean, again, it is what college football creeps closer and closer to the NFL, right, as far as the amount of storylines. I mean, think about the last week of the season. I mean, you could potentially, and talk about exercising all damn demons, if you got a situation where A&M can go on the road at Texas. And I mean, can you imagine? I really hope that Texas is 10 and or 9-2 going into that last game in Austin. And can you imagine the Aggies having an opportunity to go into Austin, into the 40 acres, and in the Longhorns college football playoff hopes? I mean, that's as big a drama as ever. And talking about just like getting the monkey completely off the back, then you can look at the school in Austin and go, no, now you're the little brother right now in 2025. I mean, the drama is going to be incredible. Think about Vanderbilt, Tennessee, the last week of the season. That could be one of those games as well, too, that could be a college football playoff play-in game.
What's going to happen in Austin this weekend?
I like Vandy. I think Vandy's just a better team. And I said this, and Arch is probably 50-50 on whether or not he plays in that game. Vanderbilt just does not beat themselves right now. And I mean, I think the one time that we saw that, I mean, you got to realize this team should be undefeated or could have been undefeated. It was Diego Pavia having Johnny Manziel on the sidelines. I think he played a little bit too careless in that game, but they had an opportunity to win that game against Bama. And I think they've learned from it. Clark Lee is a great motivator, and I've seen nothing that makes me think that the Texas Longhorns aren't much better than a 9-3 team at best right now. And like I said, I don't see the offensive line play. Everything is kind of misfiring right now, and I think Vanderbilt's a team on a mission.
How intrigued are you by this OU Tennessee game? There's storylines in this one as well. Josh Heupel going, taking on his former team, and just what both of these teams need. OU feels like it's playing on just borrowed time.
I mean, I think that's a perfect way to put it. I feel like with OU right now that this is a team that, the not having Mateer 100% healthy, he hasn't been right since the hand surgery. And I don't know if it's a mental aspect. I don't know if that's it. He says the thumb's fine. And I think Tennessee is good, but I feel like Tennessee this year is almost kind of like a version of what SMU was last year. We're like, all right, yeah, I mean, they're good. Are they great? I don't buy that. Like, Tennessee's one of those teams where I don't think, you'll say they're mathematically alive in the college football playoff, but because of that secondary being so banged up, I just don't see them having that staying power. So I still think that's another 9-3, 8-4 team that's waiting to happen.
Peter Burns with us here on TexAgs Live. All right, last one for you. Georgia, Florida. This game, I always look forward to it. And I think I'm still looking forward to it because I don't know if I figured out Georgia completely just yet, although they find ways to win games. And Florida, they've got talent to beat anybody. They just haven't beat anybody.
No, and again, I mean, I'll end our interview today with asking you this question because I want you guys to debate it on your show. What has a better chance of happening with interim head coaches? Is it Florida with the interim head coach beating a Georgia team that hasn't looked great this year, or LSU with an interim head coach going in to knock off Alabama next week? I mean, guys, I've never seen anything like it. Normally when you fire a head coach, there's a bunch of decommitments. LSU actually added commitments when they fired Brian Kelly. There's a complete change of demeanor in that program right now. Frank Wilson, the former UTSA coach, has got them fired up. So, and now obviously neither one of them might happen, but I'm not selling either one of those two not to knock off Georgia and Alabama with this kind of interim head coach energy like we saw at UCLA for the first 2 weeks.
That is my buddy, Peter Burns from the SEC Network on the Buck Beats Catering and Bartending Hotline. PB, we appreciate you, sir.
See you, buddy.
Later, man. Peter Burns, breaking it down. All right, let's hit a break. You like the word I? Sure. Yeah. AIGHT, I believe is the proper spelling for that one. Tomorrow on the program, we will have Stephen McGee on the show. If you didn't know, he works at Paragon Financial Advisors. He's our QB1. And if you're looking for peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what really sets them apart is the 9 CFPs, the CFA, the CPA, all on staff, and they take their credentials seriously. And they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel really good about. What you should do is right now, even while you're driving, go to, actually not while you're driving, paragon-adv.com. That is paragon-adv.com, or give them a call, 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors. Expertise, integrity, and trust Paragon Financial Advisors. You know, I was going to talk to Caden at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, but now I'm going to take my time on this live spot and just talk for an hour, okay? Because he thinks it's hip and funny to try to cut you down quickly, and yeah. Who's the host? That would be me. By the way, if you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggieland, or you're already in Aggieland and need a new opportunity, a new job, how about the Association of Former Students? They're seeking to hire professionals to join their team. There are positions open in fundraising, former student programs, and much, much more. And they are the nation's premier alumni association and the oldest organization supporting A&M in support of that Aggie network. They play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out the association with Howdy Socials and Aggie Rain Day, class reunions, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. So if you're interested in joining the team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs, to apply and get more information on each position. We're going to give Caden a chance to redeem himself on the show. Mr. Schwartner at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center.
Yeah, Jackson Vincent says, I think for me, battered Aggie syndrome may have died in Death Valley.
We've already come up with a couple of different names for it. Believe and Succeed, which is the Lifetime Network version of what you would believe. I believe, was it Matt Tackle on the YouTube page that said belt to...
Yes.
Right? So there's some different ones. At the end of the day, let's just enjoy this journey for however long it is and realize you got the right coach and the program going in the right direction.
I agree. I wanted to hear your thoughts on the defenses that we'll face the rest of the year after putting up, 49 points on LSU. Mm-hmm. We got Mizzou coming up. They were really impressive against Vanderbilt. And then Mississippi State put up, I think, 38 points on Texas. So thoughts on the defenses that we're facing coming up? So
Vandy scored 31 on LSU. I'm just trying to find some particulars, right? Excuse me, I'm looking for the LSU. LSU hasn't played Missouri, right? No, they have not. So I'm just trying to find similarities between teams that have played each other, and I try to use that not deductive reasoning. What's the word I'm looking for here? The law. What's that law? Come on, you're smart. When you look at one game and you try to apply it to your game. Oh, come on, bro. Beckham.
Law of transitive property.
Thank you. The law of transitive property. Yeah. So easy. You would think that you would probably say that Europe's a country. Anyway, what I think is that A&M's offense has proven that it doesn't matter who they play, they can move the ball on folks, as long as they don't make those key mistakes with a bunch of penalties. The Auburn game is the one that we easily point at because you look at it, what was it, 16 points in that game? And that could have gone real south real quick because of the mistakes. The LSU game, you made some mistakes in the first half that could have cost you as well. But if you go back to that Auburn game, which was a really good defense, how many blown opportunities did you have in that game, along with missed field goal? You also just didn't capitalize, and you got behind the chains because of penalties. So I think it doesn't matter what defense they play. It'd be interesting. Who's the best defense if you look at it all? Is it Texas? Is it LSU, which A&M had no problems moving the ball against? I know Wicks didn't play. Is it Auburn? Is it Florida? I don't know. Be interesting. Is it Notre Dame? I don't think so. But I like the way this offense moves. As long as they don't make dumb mistakes, Missouri's up there as well. All right, that's going to do it for TexAgs Live here on a Wednesday. Tomorrow on the program, as I mentioned, Stephen McGee, Ryan Swope, and I'm working on some premium content that I think you guys are going to really, really like. That'll do it for the program. Thanks so much for watching and listening. We will see you mañana.